Welcome to video games. Today we have the TpLink AX 10,000 11,000 megabyte per second router, which is ridiculous with a 2.5 gigabyte Ethernet port coming straight from the modem. It's literally completely ridiculous. Which is ridiculous with a 2.5 gigabyte Ethernet port coming straight from the modem. It's literally completely ridiculous. Which is ridiculous with a 2.5 gigabyte Ethernet port coming straight from the modem. It's literally completely ridiculous. So let's keep going. This is obviously our completely beta videos, the first ever that we've done. I'm probably gonna hear some echoes until we get this kind of thing right. Either way, we are live on YouTube. Hello world, video games on the market. This is obviously our completely beta videos, the first ever that we've done. I'm probably gonna hear some echoes until we get this kind of thing right. Either way, we are live on. So now that we got square that way, like I said, first ever videos live on YouTube. We are completely trying some things out. Like you can see, this is just a box, but we can't move it around. Hopefully not that much. The AX 10,000 TP-Link Wi-Fi 6 11,000 megabytes per second router. It is completely insane. It has 1 gigabyte of RAM, 512 megabytes of flash memory. I mean, you just cannot ask for much better short of Wi-Fi 6E. Let's face it, in today's world, every gigabit matters. When you're saving storage on the USB, when you're streaming live on YouTube like us here at Video Games, or you're using your router, testing out equipment, making sure the video is so copacetic, everything is just making sense left to right, and getting the hang of it. Well, at the end of the day, we bought a tri-band Wi-Fi 6 gaming router. We are not going to play around with this whole streaming on YouTube service. We are going to put it down on the table, legitimate, like the best poker hand, 4 aces or a royal flush that you could ever imagine, while you're even playing poker on your PS5. Because that is one of the video games that are available and it sells out quickly. But that's neither here nor there. Today we are talking about the video game gaming router. We are keeping it completely real, completely legitimate, and completely live on YouTube. The tri-band Wi-Fi 6 gaming router features 10 gigabyte per second throughput. You cannot ask for more than a game dashboard, a game accelerator. Listen to the processor. It's not exactly a 2.0, which is a little bit disappointing. It could have definitely been a 2.0 gigahertz quad-core 64-bit processor. Unfortunately, we have to settle with a 1.8 gigahertz quad-core 64-bit processor. But the catch, it has 3 co-processors. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's like you're already kind of complaining like, oh my gosh, it doesn't have a 2.0 quad-core 64-bit. But on the other hand, it has 3 co-processors. You can just imagine the kind of throughput that AX Wi-Fi 6 router really puts out. And obviously, it has a 2.5 gigabyte per second WAN port where you connect directly from your modem to this router to stream as fast as your little tiniest non-beating heart could ever hope, to not involve any nearby stick families or anybody else that just kind of mulls around we get into gaming. We get into gaming, we do it, and that's as far as we'd ever go. These beginning videos are obviously test beta videos. So since they're for general audience, they're kind of mixed market, and we decided not to label them without parents' permission, of course, to watch. Mostly because some of the video games we're rating are mature video games. So like Elden Ring, for instance, that we're going to be featuring on this Wi-Fi 6 streaming router is going to be for mature audiences over the age of 18. So we would ask nice and kindly, make sure your parents are okay with copacetic. Nothing outside of the daily, nothing drastic, nothing weird. We're not going to scare you like a Halloween prank that doesn't give you candy in your pumpkin basket. Nothing strange. And even then, at Halloween, I think the most or the far we'd ever go is put on a pair of glasses. And by a pair of glasses, I would mean like a pair of Oakleys, just to keep it nice and fresh and real. Or something I would take out fishing or wear on the trail. Something normal, nothing outside of the ordinary. We used to do the nice little gift baskets, and we obviously hope you do too, where you start planning from now. So like it's the very end of May 31st, 2022, the day after Memorial Day. And I mean, honestly, when you're thinking about Christmas in July in 2022, and you've got your nice Wi-Fi 6 router, and you're hooking up, you're living life, you're on gigabit speeds and 5G on your smartphone. Do you remember this July 2022? Why not get ready for Halloween trick-or-treaters? You know what I mean? Like go out, get yourself some candy baskets, make some bags up, and just make sure the expiration date is obviously until like November. But, you can do some pre-planning, like those little gift bags, the little zip ties that go on top of it. You can do a lot of things that'll really put a smile on a kid's face, and it's just a really nice thing to do. We've done it before. It's really nice. Like, for instance, if you're so worried about not getting enough candy for your trick-or-treaters, just go out and get like a 24-pack of, like, Snickers candy bars. Get 2 of them. Have enough, for the first 50 trick-or-treaters that come to your door, bam. Each one of them gets a nice full-size Snickers candy bar. Things like that really put a smile on a kid's face. And it's just an awesome thing to do, keeping it real, keeping it family, down to earth, and just making sure that everything feels as copacetic as this Wi-Fi 6 AX10000 router from TpLink. The biggest thing about this router is that this router offers, it's the newest model. It just replaced the AX11000, and it features higher speeds. What they did is they completely did away with the 2.4 gigahertz band. I mean, they completely did away with it. They eliminated it. They put it down to just 1,000. That's it. Like nothing fast, nothing fancy. And what they hooked it up on is they put 2 5G channels on it that are both 4804 megabytes per second. So, I mean, you can just imagine. 2 5 gigahertz, one of them dedicated for gaming or 4K streaming, whatever be your fancy. Obviously, we're getting into streaming on ours. But, I mean, on the other one, you can just do regular 4K, and you can just hook up, like what? If you have 50 devices, don't even worry about your 2.4. Hook it all up, 5G, mixed media, and you can hook up everything on the 5G. There's a lot of false information out there, I guess, on the market or even word of mouth, where they say that 5 gigahertz channels can't be used on a 2.4 gig phone. That's actually kind of false. It depends on how you have your router configured. But basically, if you have your 5G backwards compatible, you can hook up a 2.4 to the 5G and just experience a little bit faster speeds than you would on a 2.4 on its own. All of our equipment, we tend to go 5 gigahertz and 5G on our smartphones. That's the market we live in today. Even after coronavirus, even after anything else happening around the world, it's still important to keep technology on your side so that you're always informed, you're completely fresh, and you're up to date on any video games or video games equipment, because that's exactly what we're doing here. We're doing video games equipment. So this TP-Link AX10000 just got released in December of 2021. On the TP-Link website, it's very difficult to find the exact information on this particular model, because by the time you do, you see that the 2.4 gig band on it is only 918, and that's it. But it's the two other 5G channels that are both 4804 apiece, one dedicated for gaming and 4K streaming. You imagine it, you can do it on this router. It actually completely replaces the AX11000, which is the very old TP-Link model that's been around for a while. Even Asus has an AX exactly named the 11000 that's been around for a while. This one replaces both of those models and decimates it completely. It does away with 2.4 altogether, and it gives you 100% 5 gigahertz freedom. I mean, think about it. Like, your landline phones for your home are DEC 6.0. Like, you're talking about, I think they run on a 1.9 gigahertz band. But I mean, like, when you hear 6.0 or 5.0, like, you're automatically thinking, like, oh, so that's like a 5G channel. Like, it might only be 2 gigahertz, but it's a good way to think about it. Like, it's all the way up to 6.0, so you're talking about higher technology. And I mean, when you're using something that fast on your landline phone, most of your life is 5G, 5 gigahertz. And since it's backward compatible and you can just do mixed media on your router configuration, that's the way to go. I guess we might do a video about router configuration and kind of show you guys what's up. It's not necessarily that simple, but it's also not that hard. It also depends on what router. We've worked with both Asus and TP-Link. We had actually just upgraded probably about 3 years ago to the Asus router because we were completely tired with TP-Link. Not because we were tired with TP-Link as the brand or the manufacturer, because they're really awesome. Like, I remember when we did a pre-order, it was drop shipped directly from Canada, because evidently Canada had it before the United States did. Heaven forbid, I can't make any decisions there, but that happened to be the situation. And they drop shipped it FedEx straight from Canada for us. Like, it was over here in like 3 days. So, I mean, they go that extra mile when they know you're waiting. They know you need the technology. They're right there for you. And they've had a router like this that is, very comparable to the AX11000. It used to be, I think, starting at $499, $479, or $420. I think $429 was the price it was. Definitely a higher end router for performance gaming, streaming, 4K, those kind of needs. But it was limited. That's why we didn't just jump on it. Went to the Asus market, decided to do something fun, and then found out that even though it's like rated for 5,000, it can't do 5,000. You kind of learn the hard way. Just because a router is rated and it says, oh my gosh, it's 4804 or it can go up to 5,900 megabytes per second, doesn't mean that that's what it can actually do. A lot of those 4804s, even on the 5G band, they can only do about 1,200 megabytes per second. So the difference here on the AX10000, it's not rated at 4804. It's not rated at 1201. It's rated at 10,656. Something like that, like a ridiculously high, performance gaming router number. And the thing about it is that both of its 5G bands are actually 4804 apiece. What they did is they did away with the 2.4, like I said earlier. It's only 918. So the bulk of all that routing power, all that 10,000, you actually get to use. A lot of routers talk about it. A lot of routers market it. You're like, oh my gosh, you're paying $250, $300. It says it can give you up to 5,900. You're never going to have to worry about a router again. Maybe. Not on the TP-Link AX10000. They actually have a smaller version, which would be a really great companion to this, in the AI mesh. Because these TP-Link AX10000s can be mesh, which is basically mesh. The easy way to explain it, let me just stop here. When you're talking about routers and mesh, you're talking about basically daisy chaining 2 routers together. So essentially, instead of just having one router, you have a second router that acts as your repeater, your Wi-Fi repeater. Repeaters can be really confusing, and I don't know, for the price point on what you pay at it and the price that you pay on a router, it almost kind of doesn't make sense, because it's like, is that even compatible with your equipment when you spent so much? Like, if you're going to spend $200, $250 on a router, and then they're asking you $100 for a Wi-Fi 6 repeater, is it as good? Um, Not necessarily. Not necessarily. The bottom line answer would be you want to get something like this, TP-Link AX10000, that supports AI mesh. ASUS also does the one mesh configuration. Those are the two that really get into mesh. And what mesh does, you can have two of these routers, or like the least expensive version of this one, which happens to be the AX6600, which is a phenomenal router. That thing can do 6600 megabyte per second throughput. Not almost somewhere near as good as that, except like the RAM on it is 512, and then the flash memory is 256. Whereas I can hook up a USB-C on my X10000 on the AX6600, its little tiny brother. It only has two USB 3.0 ports, but I mean two USB Blue 3.0 ports that you can trust. I mean, it's a very awesome option to sit there and daisy chain this thing in mesh. And basically, all you do is you work from one router. All you have to do on the second router, you literally just plug it in, and you just work from the first router's configuration. It's got a mesh like tab on the side, just like you would on a browser, and you just press that tab where it says mesh. It goes out, searches for the other router that's mesh compatible, and bam, you click a button, it automatically does it. It acts as a repeater and extends your range. So like if you've got any kind of spots inside your house where you don't have that good of a signal, like for instance, a garage, a corner of the house, anywhere else, what you need to imagine is that this repeater will basically expand the capabilities of your original router. And it's basically your original router that's doing all the work. So basically, if you're spending $250, right? Instead of spending $100 on a repeater, just go ahead and spend another $130 on another router that's mesh compatible. It's only about $40 difference, but believe in me, by the end of the day, you're going to have such a big peace of mind, because instead of we're just working on equipment that has literally just repeater capabilities, you're talking about another functional router. And then your original router uses that less expensive router as the repeater, and it adds it automatically under the mesh system. And like I said, TP-Link and ASUS on their higher end routers starting at $199.99, they both offer it. On the TP-Link, I guess it starts at $249.99 for the AX6600, and then upwards to $399 for the AX10000. I happened to buy it early on the market, so mine was even more expensive than that, you can imagine. I actually talked with TP-Link directly. I was like, you know what? If you don't send me out the AX10000, because it's the only website online that has this TP-Link AX10000. I told them, I said, if you don't send me out the AX10000, I'm literally going to return it right back. I don't want old technology. I mean, the AX6600 was available, and I knew I could get that. And they were advertising the AX10000, but nobody seems to have it. Like, nobody actually seems to have it in stock. And they ended up shipping it to me, and I got the AX10000, but after I talked to TP-Link. So it's kind of like, it's a special thing, it's kind of a more difficult router to find. Some businesses, they send you the AX11000. You don't think anything about it, right? Well, think about it this way. If you go online and you buy the TP-Link AX10000, and they send you the TP-Link AX11000, guess what? You just got a 5-year-old router. Yep. The TP-Link AX11000 is a donkey. It is a dinosaur. 5 years old, and it doesn't have anywhere near all the phenomenal updates that in 5 years of technology can offer, like this AX10000. It might look similar, it might feel similar. Hey, the price might even be the same. No, it is not at all the same. It is old technology. I don't care if the box says AX11000 and you think it's Wi-Fi 6. It is not. Under any circumstance, under no circumstances whatsoever. It's just not. So at the end of the day, what's really important in these kind of configurations, all right. Awesome. Hey, thanks a lot, viewer. Thanks a lot for giving us the thumbs up and supporting us on video games on YouTube. Really appreciate you out there. That's really nice to have some viewers here on the market. That's super awesome, super nice. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to take a listen to us. Like I said, these are completely beta, and I'm literally talking at length about these gaming routers. But it is so important. I mean, there are people out there that are literally you'll see the web page, It'll say AX10000, and then they ship you out the AX11000 thinking that you don't know the difference. And I mean, I can just imagine how many households, got completely the wrong product shipped to their house, and what that must feel like. I mean, awful, awful feeling, because the AX10000, the AX11000 came out 5 years ago. So we're talking it's 2022 now. It came out all the way in 2017, 2018, 2016. It's a donkey. It's a dinosaur. It's old news. It's nothing compared to the AX10000 that just got released in December of 2021. And it's so fresh in the market even right now, entering June 1st of 2022, that it's hard to find it. It's hard to find it, and some people are actually shipping out the old model, the AX11000. So make sure, if you're really interested in it, obviously, if you just want to have the best household, and I mean, this is honestly what we're going to be doing, is we are using our AX10000, and we are honestly going to go AI mesh, and we're going to hook up another router to it. Do you think we're going to go with just any TP-Link router? Nope. Not at all. I mean, I'm going to leave you viewers and kind of let you guess, about what we're actually doing. But in all honest reality, we're going to hook up a gaming router and mesh it with another gaming router so that we have the ultimate performance. It is a beast, a sheer beast. I mean, under any circumstance whatsoever, it is so quiet. It is so flawless. 1 gigabyte of RAM makes such a difference in your life, because you can sit there and you have the absolutely uninterrupted freedom to do any Wi-Fi 6 routing task on your 5G phone, on your laptop, on your gaming equipment. I don't care what kind of 4K streaming you're trying to do. I don't care if you're trying to get into 8K streaming. This thing can do it. This thing can do it. And I mean, the big thing in the market right now, the big hot talk, is the Wi-Fi 6E. And there's a huge problem with it. There's a huge problem with the Wi-Fi 6E. There is absolutely no equipment, not even like the new iPhone 13, that has Wi-Fi 6E installed. So Wi-Fi 6E looks like it might actually get skipped over. So Wi-Fi 6 might be the best it's ever going to be until we hear that there's Wi-Fi 7. Wi-Fi 6 has actually been adopted as a standard throughout the United States, and endorsed by the appropriate FCC agencies where needed, I believe. In terms of simply, Wi-Fi 6 became a standard of practice that's been used throughout the United States, officially replacing Wi-Fi 5. And that official move happened, I think, about 3 years ago. It's kind of like a guessing on dates, about 2018, 2019. Either way, these are FCC regulated devices, right? I mean, like they have to be stamped and approved, and before they ever go out to the consumer. So of course, if they think the Wi-Fi 6 standard is the new bottom line, you can do more research online and type in Wi-Fi 6 and see what you think, about the information I'm giving you. But bottom line, Wi-Fi 6 is the new standard moving forward for the next 5 years. Don't sit there and think that Wi-Fi 6 isn't worth 10 times Wi-Fi 5, because it absolutely and completely is. You can't compare Wi-Fi 5 to Wi-Fi 6. You can't compare AC to AX. AX demolishes AC in every way imaginable. Any way you can fathom, any way you can imagine, anything you can dream of, AX does, AC doesn't. So, I mean, it's worth coming to Wi-Fi 6 and just being comfortable on the new medium, because it is going to be the new standard for the next 5 years, regardless if Wi-Fi 7 comes out. Everybody's comfortable with it. A lot of new devices are supporting Wi-Fi 6. They're moving into the transition. And it makes sense. It makes sense because you have MuMimo. MuMimo offers better bandwidth allocation. And then you have OFDMA. And you have 160 megahertz channels available. So like, for instance, on this AX10000, you can upgrade what used to be like a 40 or a 40 hertz channel on the Wi-Fi 5. You can go all the way 4 times that frequency to 160. You can imagine 4 times as fast, 4 times the throughput. And on any device, because you can sit there and you can make this thing backwards compatible in the 192.168.0.1. And where it tells you in the instructions when you open up the router, the website to address. Typically, I would recommend the first time you ever use a router, just type in the website address on your laptop, on your computer. Just type in the website address when you're connecting it to either by Wi-Fi or Ethernet. It's kind of like hard wiring something. And then after you've done that, that's when you should think about getting the app on your phone. But I mean, even if you're using your smartphone, I've done it. I've used my smartphone to configure a brand new router. Don't worry about it. Instead of getting the app, don't just automatically go to the app. On your smartphone, dial the website address on the box and configure it that way first. Because that way you can download the app after you're finished and you take all the guessing work out of it. If you got something wrong, if the app couldn't find it, after you have it configured, the app's going to find it. You know what I mean? I always leave the app second. I always recommend 100% going to your browser on your smartphone, your laptop, or computer, typing in the address it tells you in the box, doing it that way. That's just the safest way to make sure that you have the best equipment, the best chances possible, and you live in airtime and fairness of OFDMA, Wi-Fi 6. This is AX10000 of TpLink Wi-Fi 6 AX signing out on the 1.8 gigahertz 64-bit quad-core processor and 3 co-processors it has installed for video games. Get a video gaming router when you're doing that kind of thing. It makes a lot more sense to start at $199. It's worth it. Video games.